People who sleep like the dead. What's a funny story that's also concerning? My partner and I are mountain guides. One night a mouse got into our tent and was crawling all over us. He woke up, flipped his shit, yelling, hitting the tent, opening doors, turning on lights, shaking me, screaming, "There's a mouse in the tent." I don't recall this. Apparently I pulled my sleeping bag over my head and said no there's not and knocked back out. There was definitely a mouse in the tent. I have narcolepsy. Before I was diagnosed, second year of high school, my gym teacher knew I had some problems but decided to ignore the doctor's note about my undiagnosed sleep disorder, and had me run laps even though I was falling asleep on my friends who gracefully lent me shoulders and laps. So I run with the rest of the class, and lo and behold, I fall asleep running. Bonk goes the boy into the floor. Woke up on impact, and the teacher was like, "Oops, bad fall," to which the people surrounding me was like, "Nope, that was a sleeping person running for half a sec. Minor bang on the head, a few scrapes." The same teacher asked where I was when they took a spinal fluid sample to confirm my narcolepsy diagnosis, and I kindly passed along that having already rubbed my face all over his gym floor, I didn't feel the need to leak spinal fluid all over it. Other narcoleptic people have scary stories. I know about one who fell asleep with their hand on a hot stovetop. There's also the time a friend found me in a ditch sleeping soundly, 50 whole meters from my home. We don't know how long I'd been there. So close, yet so far away. I'm very surprised I didn't die or break something vital in that whole year they spent diagnosing me. My now boyfriend probably saved me when I fell asleep toppling towards some exposed wiring. Kids are dumb and break shit at schools, what else is new? Someone broke into the house. My then girlfriend had to beat me to wake me up because I didn't hear the broken glass. I fell asleep on my front porch as a kid and woke up from my friend shaking the hell out of me, soaking wet from the severe thunderstorm that was going on. Honestly, that was a pretty restful sleep and I wish he had let me keep sleeping. I fell asleep kissing my then girlfriend back when I was about 18. I had worked a back-to-back shifts doing heavy work for 16 hours, then we went straight out drinking and on to a nightclub till about 3 in the morning. Went back to hers and were getting romantic on the sofa and I fell asleep on top of her. She was furious and threw me onto the floor, at which point I apparently rolled over and went soundly to sleep. She buggered off to bed and her mother found me still out cold in the morning cuddled up with the dog. When I was a kid my mom used to dress me while I was asleep, carry me to the car, drive me to kindergarten, and wake me up when we arrived. Not a morning person. And not sure how concerning it is, but I'm concerned about why we can't adapt society to people having different circadian rhythms. I once slept through my dad getting attacked by someone with a knife in the room right next to me. I only woke up after he had been frantically banging on my door shouting at me to phone the police. It's funny because he was fine, don't worry. Well, one day I had invited my girlfriend over and was waiting on her to get there, so I sat down on the couch and wound up falling asleep. She got there but I had forgotten to unlock the door. So she was knocking on the door for a while and wound up calling the police to do a wellness check, thinking that something may have happened to me. So the cops come and beat on my door and end up leaving, telling her they couldn't open the door since I could simply be asleep, and she wound up having to leave and go home after like an hour. Anyway, that's the story of how my neighbor got a come back with a warrant doormat. I was a baby and slept through an 8-point earthquake in California in the 90s. I can sleep through a fire alarm. When I was in high school we would all skip and chill at my house. After I was done a couple younger friends would come chill, so I'd leave the door locked for them. So one day they come in as usual. 2 friends came in, Steve and Joey. Well, Joey had a pull-back pump BB gun pistol. I've always slept like I was dead. So Joey and Steve are trying to wake me up but I'm not budging. So Joey starts with, "I'm going to shoot you in the leg if you don't wake up." Starts having Steve tell me that he is point a BB gun at my leg. He keeps going. I'm not even flinching. He fucking shoots me in the leg. I sat straight up and started screaming, then instantly went back to sleep. Later that day we are all hanging out. And I keep batching that I feel like something bit me on my upper thigh. I didn't remember any of that morning. Joey and Steve bust out laughing at me and inform me why my leg hurts. I got him back that day also. When he went to leave he would ump my backyard fence into his yard. So while he was jumping over I shot him and he ended up falling off the little chain link. Good times. My parents used to get woken up in the night multiple times when I was a kid because I would sleepwalk, get stuck, and just scream. Still sleeping so I don't remember anything. One time I was hanging one hand on the couch, one hand on my bed, one foot on my bed and one in the air, hanging between my couch and bed holding on for dear life just screaming. Also one time I asked my sibling to wake me up when fireworks started on New Year. The next day I woke up and got very angry at my sibling for not waking me up. Apparently they tried shaking my bed, yelling, banging the wall, and when they wanted to hit me I gave them my knee in their face and they got a nosebleed. In school I slept a lot in my morning classes. Even art class, I'd sleep while sitting on a stool. I'd wake up when the period ends and walk to my next class and knock back out. I graduated last year thankfully cause I always got my work done eventually. My first period class in my senior year was pretty funny. The quarter was about to end and I had 6 PowerPoint presentations. It was a history class, and I got all of them done in 2 days and went back to sleeping in class after. Middle school was the worst. Every day I was knocked out. If my teachers were yelling at the class, I was sleeping. Movie? Sleep. Presentation? Sleep. I'm also confused on how I graduated middle school, but somehow I pulled it out of my ass LMAO. In kindergarten I fell asleep during nap time and slept through the rest of the day, which was like 5 hours. They said they tried to wake me several times, but I kept falling back asleep, so the teacher decided to just leave me until my bus home had arrived. She sent me home with a note that I need a bedtime. Had a roommate come into my room naked after showering, thinking I wasn't home. Ended up waking up when after they turned the light on, opened a few drawers, and sat on the bed. The bed sitting woke me up. My wife and I used to have an absurd amount of blankets/pillows, so it hid me pretty well. Should have been a giant red flag, but it startled me/her at the time. My boyfriend and I had a friend staying in our guest room. I wake up at 4 a.m. to our friend screaming at the top of his lungs, "No. No. No. Get away from me," and other fun things. I know that our friend suffers from sleep paralysis, so I knew it was probably just a nightmare, but I was still scared. I had to slap my boyfriend several times for him to wake up. I said his name, I shook him so hard we both practically bounced on the bed. He finally wakes up and I tell him to check on our friend. Instead he goes to bathroom. I remind him again. He slams the door open to our guest room, turns on the super harsh lights, and goes, "Hey bro." Our friend says, "What's up bro?" My boyfriend then proceeds to turn on the electric pump to the air mattress our friend is sleeping on. It sounds like he is vacuuming at 4 in the morning. He turns it off, turns off the lights and comes back to bed. Neither of them remember any of this. What concerned me was that if something horrible truly did happen, my boyfriend would sleep through all of it. I don't always sleep like the dead, but sometimes I can. I forgot what year of high school this was, but there was a really bad storm during the night apparently. I got up, ready for school, about to walk out the door, and my mom stops me. Tells me it's a 2-hour delay so they can clear the roads. I ask why and she told to me look outside. So many tree limbs on the road and ground. The concerning part? Something hit the side of the house next to my window and dented the wall. My head is right next to my window when I slept in that room. I did not wake up and I was unaware. Well, this is a story I regard as rather funny, but my wife doesn't find it funny at all, lol. It was perhaps around 7 years ago when my wife was about halfway through the term with my daughter. I remember working around 10 to 12 HRS during those days, so when I got home I would have dinner and go straight to bed since I would be dead tired. Now, the next bit is all from my wife's account since I cannot recall any of it. She woke me somewhere after 3 a.m. since she could hear a lot of noise and flashing police lights on our bedroom window. Since my wife was rather big to move, she told me to check it out, and apparently I had a quick peek from behind the curtain and told her, "Everything is cool, just some police passing." The next morning was a holiday or something and I was planning to sleeping late, but she woke me up since there was a yellow police tape across our house. Apparently there was a murder in the house across the street and some crazy guy chasing someone with a knife or something. Later that day our house was in the background of a coverage on the television and also in the local paper, lol. To this day I find the whole thing extremely hilarious and she gives me the WTF look, lol. When my elderly mother lived with us, my then teenage daughter once slept through a bunch of lights and sirens, followed by the firemen tromping through our house to put grandma on a gurney. She had fallen and hit her head. She wasn't badly hurt, but why take chances, and wheeling the gurney out the front door. It was loud from beginning to end. I seriously hope she never has a house fire. P.S. Nothing against firemen, EMTs, or any other first responder. They were making noise because there were hardwood floors for the gurney to go over, because they are walking heavily due to the equipment they're carrying, and because I'd never dream of asking them to be quiet when they're busy possibly saving the life of a family member. The noise is what made my kids sleep of the dead so funny.